Here's the story so far in fourth grade. We looked at cars rolling down a ramp, and we measured how much energy the car had in two ways. One, in seeing how far the car rolled, and then two, in having the car hit a block and measuring how far the block was pushed, the displacement. And then students, we split the class up, and kids that wanted to crash the car into the block studied that. Kids that wanted to see how far the car rolled would do that. And the main thing is to understand that, there's a couple different kinds of energy at play here. We want children to understand that gravity is pulling straight down. It doesn't pull this way. The car is going this way, but gravity is pulling straight down. If we were to make the ramp steeper, then the car's motion would be closer to that of gravity, and of course it would go faster. And if there was no slope at all, it wouldn't go at all. So that's what we were doing this past week, adding what we call potential energy. When I lift something up by its position, it has energy, and then when I let go, we get that energy back. So the energy in pushing it up is creating potential energy, and then when I let it go, we get kinetic energy, and the car rolls down the ramp, and we measured either how far it rolled or how far it pushed a block. Well, this week, we're going to be doing some of the same sort of graphing activities, which is really good because many children struggle with graphing. They struggled with writing a half. Many kids didn't know how to write a half, and so this was an opportunity for them to learn some fractions too when it comes to measurement. But this week, we're going to do a couple of things. Number one, we're going to put a cup at the bottom of the ramp, and we're going to have kids pick a number, maybe 10, and they'll crash the car into the cup. Then what we'll do is we'll add washers to the cup. And so we'll add 2 washers. And then students will get it back to 10, which is important for them to understand. You got to keep this the same. Got to control all the variables except for the one that we're testing. And they'll run it again and measure how far it goes. So that's one activity. Another activity, we'll be using this cup, and it's a 100 milliliter measuring cup, and students will put water into a bottle, and so they might do it with no water, and they'll put the bottle at a certain height, maybe 12, and they'll roll it down the ramp and measure how far it goes. Then we'll add 100 milliliters of water, repeat the experiment, collect data, and so forth. And the idea of collecting data is really important. I mean, children understand just intuitively that if you have it higher up on the ramp, it's going to go faster and push the block and go farther. But in the following week, we're going to use rubber bands, and we're going to have the kids turn it a half a turn, a whole turn, and they're going to collect data. And then I'm going to challenge them to get their car to land in a particular zone. I'll put 2 pieces of blue tape as a target and a starting line, and they'll have to they'll know the distance, and they'll have to use their data to figure out how many turns to wind the rubber band to make their car go a particular distance. So these first 3 lessons are pretty data dependent, a lot of measuring, a lot of graphing, and a lot of fun.